Yes, team. So thank you for jumping on. Today, guys, we're quickly going to go over some of the tips that we can go through now that the kids are back to school. So the main reason why I wanted to do this was obviously a lot of the people that I work with are parents, busy parents. Just give me a second, just letting a few people into the room. Busy parents and people who they are sometimes the kids can be a good excuse to not hit the gym or eat well, so on and so forth. So um this kind of the whole point of today is to give you the exact strategies that you can put in place on your own to get in amazing shape before we get to Christmas, or at least when we get to Christmas, because you want to be able to enter the new year physically and mentally in a whole nother space. And I think that this is really going to be the key to that. So kicking things off, really, I'm just going to share my screen. And as I go through this, guys, if you do have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. And yeah, we'll get into it. So let's just share the screen. Let me just turn off LinkedIn because these messages are firing in. Cool. So give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can see my screen. Okay, cool. All right, so we want to drop 15 to 20 pounds in the next 12 weeks. And some of this, I'm actually going to go off script a little bit and just talk a little bit more specifically about how to actually plan your training, especially with the children gone and whatnot. I think that will make this a little bit more realistic for you. So the main thing that we need to remember here is that for you to actually lose body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. So it doesn't matter how we slice it and dice it, a calorie deficit is going to be the key. So if you think about your body and if you understand something that we like to call the laws of thermodynamics, or thermodynamics as it is basically if you consume, if you burn more energy than you consume, then there is an energy deficit. In terms of the human body, when there is an energy deficit, that is taken from the body as fat, glycogen, or sometimes it can be muscle. Now, we want to minimize the amount of muscle we lose, of course, and we want to maximize the amount of fat we lose. Energy can be transformed from one form to another, but it cannot be created or destroyed. So you have to remember that. So the only way that the energy is transformed is from creating that negative energy balance, which then turns your fat, your glycogen, and sometimes your body, your muscle into it actually leaves your body through air. If you didn't know, it actually leaves your body through oxygen. So that's why it gets burned. It's quite interesting, right? So if you think about how much calories you burn in a day, expenditure, you burn a certain amount through resting, just literally just being alive, you're burning calories. Digestion, how much you're eating. So that is actually the process of digesting the food. Your activity levels, so running around, training, walking, things like that, and obviously specific exercise. Interestingly, what's the biggest thing here? Resting, right? And the functions of the liver, brain, and muscles. AKA, the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn, the quicker you can make your metabolism. Now, consumption is the energy absorbed, basically how much you consume throughout the day. If you can keep this less than this part would be your calorie deficit, you burn fat. Keep it that simple. I won't talk too much about it, but that is all you need to know about losing fat. Now, if we look at it from the context of where you are right now and to Christmas, and by the way, guys, if you do have any questions, please just drop it in the chat. I will crank something out for you. If you do have any questions, feel free to kind of drop me a message or drop a message in the chat here on Zoom, because I will kind of answer it as I go along. But we'll have some dedicated Q&A time as well. You need to just bear that in mind. Now, in terms of aiming for that Christmas target or heading into the new year target, you want to be losing about 1 to 2 pounds per week, or half a kilo to a kilo per week. And we can break that down. The real number should be around 0.5% to 1% of your current body weight. So what does that mean? If you are 80 kilos right now, it would take about 400 grams to 800 grams of weight loss per week. That would be a steady, healthy amount of weight loss. Now, again, this is not strict, but this is a general good rule that we want to be aiming for, because if you're losing too much weight, it usually means we're losing muscle mass at the same time. And your target, you need to think about it in terms of the time frame and what you'd like to achieve. If we're trying to get there by Christmas, we've easily got 3 months until then. You could quite comfortably lose 15 to 25 pounds in that time frame. So you have to bear that in mind and think about like what you're doing when it comes to training. So the first thing we need to do is just be practical. With your current schedule, family, kids, work, how can you create a calorie deficit? You need to understand that, you know, you should be looking at, you can create this on Google, you can find it out. You can use a TDEE calculator. So if you go on Google right now and type in TDEE calculator and put in all your details, that will tell you exactly how much calories you should be going for. Don't use MyFitnessPal. You need to think about where you're at right now. When it comes to getting in shape, people talk about like training and going on these crazy diets, but actually, we need to actually think about your behavior and your habits based on where you're at right now. And is it something you can sustain? If it is something you can sustain, then you need to think about, sorry, not sustain. If it's something that you're willing to commit to and you're able to change your habits, or you're willing to make adjustments to your habits, then that's the starting point. Forget about tracking everything you eat or stuff like that. You need to make sure you're in the right mental space to commit to the process of getting in shape, because that's really the actual key to doing what you need to do. So analyze your habits, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy. What times do you end up binging on food? What days do you end up drinking more alcohol than usual? How did the kids put you off your meal plan? Blah, blah, blah. From a behavior perspective, my advice would be to try and prepare at least 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 clean meals per week. If you can prepare that, you're good. Allow yourself 2-3 meals per week. So the 3 meals, that means have not a cheat meal, but maybe a bit of fast food, so on and so forth, 2 times a week. That'll keep you sane and you won't be on this strict diet. Now, exercise 3 to 5 times per week. Like we just demonstrated, exercise is actually not the biggest part of the process, but building muscle is important. And the next part that I think that people really overlook is sleep. If you're not getting at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep, it's very unlikely that you're going to see the kind of shape and the desire that the body that you want. So just bear that all in mind. Now, what we really want to try and do now is think about what's the best training program for you to follow based on how many days you can get to the gym. So if we know that now the kids are back to school, you can do 3 days in the gym. Well, the science tells us that if you hit your major muscle groups 2 times per week, that's the optimal amount of training. So if you did a full body workout, an upper body workout, and a lower body workout, you'd be hitting all your you'll be hitting all your major muscle groups 2 times per week. Sorry, if you do that. So that's one thing to bear in mind, one thing to think about. The next thing would be to really try and push with potentially 4 days a week. If that's the case, you could then position it with an upper body, a lower body, a full body. Then the 4th day, I would actually do some type of hit or some type of cardio session, because I think that that's the best way to utilize the extra 4th day, keep your heart healthy. If it's 5 days a week, then we start to make some slight adjustments, because you're training at enough volume to be able to do this. So I would personally go down the route of upper body, lower body, push, pull, lower body, and then a full body workout. That way you're hitting all major muscle groups. Or you can go upper body, so that's push and pull twice, and then lower body twice. And then the 5th workout, again, some hit cardio type of training, because this is fat loss we're going for. So we do need to be doing some hit, some cardio type of work. So in terms of structuring your exercise, those are the basic structures that you should start thinking about. Now, you should use weightlifting to build and maintain muscle as you lose fat. If you diet aggressively, you end up losing muscle at the same time, and that will mess up your metabolism. So do not go with really harsh crash diets. You need to take your time. Your weight training needs to be heavy but manageable. And if you're not tracking your lifts, please start tracking all your major lifts. It will make a huge difference to where you're at right now physically, with your training, your nutrition, your body. it will make you 10 times happier, because then you can actually see where you're going wrong. And just a bit of extra information, people will say, can I target my belly if I do crunches? Or, like, it doesn't work like that. You can't target certain body parts, unfortunately. If you could, everyone would have a six pack, because people in the gym love doing crunches and stuff like that, but not everyone has a six pack, right? So you can't target certain areas. Sorry, it's a bit late here. But you can focus on developing and bringing up certain body parts that are lagging. Bodybuilders talk about this all the time. Like, they might say, oh, my calves are really small, so they really attack their calves, or they attack their shoulders. And although there's not a lot of evidence that suggests that this works, I do believe that it can be done, but you can't expect to see like a major result if you just keep training one area. It doesn't work like that. So the long-term solution is, now the kids are back to school. So now you need to start thinking about, okay, like, how can I structure this into my life and my routine? First thing you need to do is put your focus on creating better habits around your daily lifestyle. So what are you doing throughout the day that is ruining your nutrition? Is it office snacks? Is it eating too much sugar? Is it drinking too much alcohol? Is it every weekend you get sucked into going out and drinking when that's not even what you want to do, but your friends are maybe a bad influence? Is your partner a bad influence? Like, let's be real. Some of our partners, they can get away with drinking or partying all the time, and it doesn't affect their body. Whereas for us, it does, right? Like, it can go either way. And there's so many different routes and different aspects that you need to think about in this process. And by the way, guys, if you do have any questions, or if you want a bit more of a personal kind of one-to-one session, I will be dropping the link in the chat. So feel free to hop on there. So yeah, you want to plan ahead and give yourself an hour or two on a Sunday to prepare some meals for the week. Snacking wise, bring your own snacks to the office. Don't let the office dictate to you what they want you to eat. You bring your own snacks, bring fruit. Exercise. So the whole point of this today was talk about actually how to structure your workouts on a 3-day, 4-day, 5-day program. And if you was to do those things, you would easily crush, I don't know, 3 or 4 kilos in the next month or two if you did that. But obviously, patience is the thing. 0.5 to 1% each week is might not seem like a lot, but over the course of the 6 months, it's definitely, that's a lot of weight. Because if I lost 1% of my body weight right now, I would be, I'd be losing about a kilo per week. And then, that over 6 months, that's 24 weeks. I'd be 24 kilos down. I'd look like a skinny rat if I did that. So just bear that in mind. All right. So do we have any questions? And guys, look, if you want a one-to-one, more of a personal kind of conversation, just to kind of talk to you if there's some private stuff, and also show you about how my actual program works, just check the chat. I'm just going to put a link in the chat. And if you are watching a replay, the link should be in the bio if you're watching the replay as well. All right. No questions today. All right. Well, feel free to hop on. All right. All right. You booked a call. Lovely. All right, Jason. Jason's booked in. Well, cool. Well, I'll speak to you soon. Guys, if you do want to book a call, I'll be sending you guys an email after this anyway. So have a quick look out for it, and then we'll go from there.